modern day youths and their problems. I love the contribution that you made, Naib. You were saying something about how you cleared your debts.
Yes.
Right. So you are encouraging other youths to endeavor to clear their debts too.
Yes, I want to encourage them not to give up and always to keep on going.
How did that come about?
Sorry.
Study financial, maybe. How did the debt come about?
Yes. It was like debts that I had of phone bills and my own school fees.
Okay.
And especially these two things is that we have a lot of debts that we have to pay off monthly every month, and we don't know how to do it. But once you get free of it, I do believe that you can go on. It doesn't matter how young you are. You are never too old. Too young to have debts. Everybody can have debts in this life generation. So.
Wow. And Jerry, you made mention about if they don't have parent this thing in their life, they have to look unto God. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Okay. But the parental upbringing is still parental role is still very important for every child who is every youth that is out there.
Yeah.
So in the absence of parental role, they have to look unto God. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, and it is always hard also without parent. If you don't know God, to look up to God, you know, it's only by grace and that you can look up to God, because God is nobody. I've seen God, so if you tell somebody to look up to God, which he cannot see or touch or don't know about, is very hard. And my prayer for this generation, that God's grace may come upon us, reach upon us all. And that's my prayer all the time, that God should still find us, because we are nothing without Him. We are lost without Him. And that's always my prayer for the youth, that may God reach them in Jesus' name.
Okay. And what do you have to say, Janido, what do you have to say to the youths? What are the challenges you had, and how did you come out of it?
One of the challenges I had, I thought about it like when the other guys discussed about it, is forgiveness. Like,
you were not forgiving?
I was like, I said I'm raised by just my mother and my father.
Okay.
And when I came to the Lord placed in my heart that I had to forgive my father.
Okay.
Because of the fact that I had resentment against him, you know. I really, I was at a certain point that I was like willing to give up all contact with him. And I think like during my period with the Lord also, it really was a process. Forgiveness is a choice.
Yeah.
But the fact that you really have have like peace with the person can be a process.
Yes, exactly.
And that was like for me a process. And I think that forgiveness is really it's a biblical foundation. You have to forgive because of the fact that if you don't forgive, God will also not forgive you. And that it really blocks your relationship with the Father.
Okay.
So I had to forgive him. God spoke to my heart that I have to forgive him, and I did that. And the challenge was to really confront him and to say like, I'm now new. I have the relationship.
What were you angry about? You were angry because he was not there. But did you get to know the reason why he was not there for you? Because some of these fathers, their mothers blocked them, or their wives blocked them not to see the children.
Yeah, true. That's also.
Oh, so I don't think any father will just be out there making babies and not caring for the babies. But how about if a woman have blocked you not to see your children? What are you gonna do?
Yeah, true. But that's not. Sometimes that's not the way you think. You know, the way you think is like you need a father, and you really resent the fact that he wasn't there.
Yeah.
You know, and that's like simple. That's keeping it simple.
Yeah.
And you don't like think the way the father thinks at that certain stage, because of the fact that you have a need and your need is not getting fulfilled.
Okay.
And you're trying to put the blame on somebody, and the one you put a blame on is of course the one who's not fulfilling that need.
Yeah.
You know, so that's the way you think, and I can also like I can also see like the way you see it. But that was not the way I was thinking at that moment, you know.
Yes, exactly. I can imagine that.
And now I see like I pray for my father each day because of the fact that I know he has to have that harsh relationship with God also, you know. And that's why I pray for him. And I met him yesterday, and we talk, and we really, you know,
yes.
and we have that normal, you know,
Contact, yes.
no normal contact, you know. It's not the way that I have with my mother,
Yeah.
but it's working, you know. It's in progress, you know. And that's something that changed because of the fact that I didn't want to talk with him anymore, and now I'm just talking to him.
That's very good. That's very good.
That's
so what are you
something
saying? What's your last word for those who are out listening to us, other youths who may find themselves in the same problem you had?
I think forgiveness is the way, you know. You have to forgive. You have to forgive because of the fact that God really says you have to forgive, otherwise He won't forgive you.
And
know?
even not only God saying that we have to forgive, naturally, if you do not forgive, you can't go forward.
Yes,
So if we go about just carrying those luggage, we cannot go any further. So forgiveness is very, very necessary in everything that we do. Well, this is where we're going to end our discussion for now regarding the modern day problems with youths. And we thank you so much. Well, somebody is giving a call. Let's take this call. Hello, caller.
Put the lights on. The lights.
Hello.
Yeah, please.
Hello.
Yes, hello.
Yes, my name is Alhaji Ibrahim.
Okay. Thank you for.
Yes, I want to talk something about what the young are saying.
Oh.
I'm very proud of them, and I wish them all the best. The way the last guy talked, and I wish that all the youngs and so forth, what is happening in the world now today with the fathers and the mothers.
Yes.
The mothers have to change their attitude. They have to say that the children also are there to see their fathers.
Exactly.
Love their fathers.
Exactly.
So I wish that this type of attitude towards the youngs and so forth, may God always bless we all and we have to think positive way how to towards our youth.
Thank you so much, Alhaji Ibrahim. Thank you so much for that, for calling in. Thank you so much. Well, you have heard it. So we think we have enjoyed this program, and those of you who are out there, our next program is going to is coming up, and we are going to deal with a single father, and we want to hear from, because last week we had dealt with single mothers, but now we are about to talk on single fathers, and you are going to hear from a father's perspective why he was really absent from the children. Because many times we call them absentee fathers, and unfortunately we don't give any name to the women folks. We only address and tag the men. So we have a father today who will be joining us in our 9:15 discussion to let us see the other side of the coin. Stay tuned. And gentlemen, thanks so much for being with us.
You're welcome.
God richly bless you.
God bless you too.
Young people are sometimes forgotten and put in the back burner, as it were, but more so often it has been proven that giving them attention to air their views and perspective on life's issues has been useful in helping them avoid making terrible mistakes in life. In our broadcast, we have for our panel, Jerry Cobbler. Jerry, please, can you say hello to Radio Voice of
Hello,
Naija
good morning,
listeners?
everybody.
We also have Janito Brunda.
Hello, everybody. My name is Juanito Brandon.
Yeah, and we have Naib.
Hello, my name is Naif. Good morning, everybody.
They are representing the migrant youth from Amsterdam today to discuss some of the issues they are grappling with today. Now, we encourage you to give us a call in case you have any contribution to make or you just want to add to what they are saying. First question. According to the Wikipedia encyclopedia, youth generally refers to a time of life that is neither childhood nor adulthood, but rather somewhere in between. Youth also identifies a particular mindset of attitude, as in, he is very youthful. The term youth is also related to being young. The term also refers to individuals between the ages of 16 to 24. Do you agree with this above definition of a youth? Do you agree?
Yes.
Do you agree with that?
Yeah, we agree with that.
All right. So there's often what is called a generational gap between young people and the older generation. Do you see or feel anything like that at this moment? If so, tell us, what is it? What is the gap, generational gap between the youths of now or the older people? Do you feel that? Generational gap?
The gap that I want to say is we are all learning the same things at the same time, the same computer and the same technology that is given to the oldest. The young people also are learning the same thing. So we are always it's making ourselves equal like the oldest, because some of the youth even are showing the oldest how the computer systems are working now.
Okay. Do you agree to that, Nai?
Yes, I agree with what Jerry, for example, has said. That there are a lot of youths these days are missing a lot of things out. So in this generational gap that you're talking about, and especially in this modern day youths, because we plan always to do a lot of things in our lives since we were like 16 or even like 12 years old. We are always excited, and suddenly when we get like older, we see a lot of things in the world already happening in our parents and our people that are older than us, and we see also changes happening, taking place.
Wow. So how does that make you feel?
It makes me feel that it's not everybody that feels comfortable about it, especially myself, because the younger you are in these days, looks like the more people expect of us, and we cannot really fulfill that. So I see this as a gap in this generation. So.
It's true. What do you have to say, Janito?
Well, yeah. I have to think about it one though, but if I look at it that way, I think that all generations have their own issues, you know, and I think that previous maybe it was like more like other things, but in an other kind of jacket, and now we have like not exactly the same problems, but problems are maybe, I think the times are getting a little bit harder. The technology is going forwards, and all people, they expect more of us, I think, more to do in a certain age, where the times are fasting. Internet is more I don't know how to say it in English, but internet is more available than previous. And I think for the youth we have to be more in cooperation with God, you know, to be really really focused on Him, and not on the things surrounding us, because of the fact that a lot of things are coming on us on our way, that we need to be aware of. So.
Wow. Okay. What have you noticed to be some of the main issues confronting young people, and how do you think the older generation can help the youths deal with these things better? What are the main problems you've noticed confronting the youths of today?
I see it more like being committed in church activities, or being a really good person, like how you have been raised. So I see that in there we had to put more effort. So I see that a lot of youths these days, they lack a lot of things, and including myself. And I always wanted to do more for the things of God, so I had to be committed in the church. So I don't really see this kind of organizations planned by the government, for example, that we had to, so that we can commit ourselves one another, like as youths, and to do certain programs and to be involved in a lot of activities
Yes.
these days, especially in this new year that is coming in 2013.
Okay, you are talking in terms of in the religious circle, because I believe in the society itself, in the secular world, youths are doing a lot of things.
Yeah.
So, but we are in a society where they say they are separated from, the church is separated from the government. So that means everything that we are going to do as a church, we are going to figure them out by ourselves, because the government are not ready to back up anything that is being sponsored or done by a church, even if it's a youth program.
Yes.
So then how would the youths in the church adopt some of the things that the people in the secular world are doing, the youths in the secular world are doing, so that they can become effective?
I don't say it depends on God, but by God's grace, we still keep it on sharing His grace. His grace is so great that no matter how the system go, we still keep it on evangelizing His grace. And that's wonderful in my life, because I realized way back I was also in the Word, and by His grace now I'm still bringing the evangelist of Christ around the world, no matter how the system goes. The love of God is so great that even it energizes us to go through all with it.
Jerry, what I don't understand the concept of evangelism right now, because we are in the social our social segment. Or I do buy to what Naib has said, like the youths are struggling. What we want to see here is, what are the problems confronting the youths of today in a modern day society? What are the problems? And then Naib have made he made mention of a very good point. Lack of commitment. He said they are struggling. You're looking for a way to be committed in the things of the Lord. That's what you said.
Yeah.
Right. And what do you have to say, Jonito?
I think there's also like I think the youth also needs like how do you say it, like parental figures, you know, like figures who can
Yeah, that means he's saying to me that it's not a religious discussion, it's a social discussion. That means we must be able to see ourselves. You are representing the youth, so both those who are in the law and those who are not. So it's what are the problems you see? When you look at, you will see that youths have problems.
Yes.
So what are the problems confronting them in a modern day society?
I think it's like a lack of parental figures, you know.
That's
and
it.
I think like if you look at it, and that can be in church, but it can also be outside of church. If you got like the right people, you can look up to, you know, people you can feel like I want to be. He has got something that I'm fond of. I just want to be like that, you know. And I really admire the things that he has for himself. Then the youth will go like in a certain direction. But the youth is like cooperating to all kind of things, you know. Like in the media, you got like MTV, TMF, all kind of rappers and music artists who are giving like a certain example that the youth is cooperating to. The youth wants to be like that kind of person.
Yeah.
And I think the thing is like if you want to be like that, you will behave like the person who are doing that thing, you know.
Wow.
Like rap and all kind of things, you know. Like walk in a certain act like do your trousers and your underwear is like up, and you know that kind of things are like that are the things that are coming from certain things that you see, you know, and you want to be like that. But the fact is that those people are not real. You know, it's not real. It's like an image, and you're just like to be like an image. You're not like to be like real, you know.
Yeah.
And if you want to be like for real, then you can't be
Well,
like
what
that.
do you mean by what do you mean by they are not real? You mean they just hang those trousers down that way just for the moment, and then another youth is copying it and thinking it's a way of dressing?
No, but I think it's like if you go to the things that are behind that one, you know, it's like they want to how you say it? They want to do something that sells. I think that all kind of artists are selling certain images, and I think that the images you cooperates to that kind of image, you know, and that's the way I think that it is. But and youths are selling that. Youths are wanting to be like that, like a certain person who sells an image, and they link into it, and they want to be like that.
So why they are desiring and wanting to be like that, there are no parental figures in their life. I mean, people who can correct them and say this is not the right way, or is it that they are correcting them and they don't want to hear?
Yeah, but then also it's like if you're in a group, you know, you want to be like you want to be accepted.
Yeah.
You know, and that's where God also plays in. I can only link it to God because of the fact that if you don't know God,
Yeah.
you want to be accepted by humans,
Yeah.
by men.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
if you don't have somebody, because God accepts you, but if you don't know Him, then you want to be accepted by somebody, you
Yes,
know.
yes.
And the man you want to be accepted like are a group,
Yeah.
and a group behaves a certain ways.
yeah.
And if you don't behave like that, then you won't get accepted in
Yeah.
that group.
It's true.
So that's also the way that it is, you know. You have to be accepted. You have to be certain people that they like, that they want to, that they feel connected to.
Yeah.
And if you're doing something different, then you won't be part
Connected.
of that group.
Exactly, it's true.
So it's like a group thing, I think.
Yeah.
It's all, and you can't be separated from that group because of the fact that you go to school, you go to certain things,
Yeah.
you know, and you have to be with some people.
Mm-hmm.
You can't be lonely
Wow.
loneliness people, you know. You have to be in that group.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. And I think if you got a strong foundation, and that foundation can be a church, you know,
Yeah.
that foundation can be rooted in Christ. That's the best foundation that
Yeah.
there is.
Yes.
But then you know that it doesn't matter if people accept you or not. God still accepts you.
Yes.
Yeah. It doesn't matter if you're outside of that group. Your parents still have that strong foundation. They rooted it in you. They say no. You're not the way they say you are.
Yes.
No, you're the way I say you are. You're a child of God. You're a king. You know. You are more than the people surrounding that. You know. And you have your own identity. I think it's also a lack of identity, an identity crisis.
Yes,
You know.
identity crisis.
You have to be. It's like if you don't have an identity, and your identity is like God gives you identity. But if you don't have that identity, you search your identity somewhere else. And there's several places where you can search your identity.
Exactly, it's true. Yeah. Yes, you want to add more?
Yeah. You like to add what he said.
Yeah.
We have difficulties to be accepted by other people as youths. I think. And this is also what we can be struggling with in everyday life.
You have difficulty to be accepted.
To add what he said, because he was talking about the identities of
Yeah.
many people.
Yeah.
And this also can be like us or like youths.
Yeah. So people like that, why are they having identity crisis? Why? What do you think is making them have identity crisis?
It was mostly the Bible said that treat a child the way he should go, so that when he grow, he will not depart from it. And most of the time, if we don't get good people, like the way you say, good parents of those around us to lead us to a right life, of a good life, of where we should go, then we lost our ways and we try to find it around the world. But I always thank God that He's still reigning, and He never forgets His people, and He's choosing one. He always remember them, no matter how far they go. He still reached for them. And
I think identity crisis have to deal with, like, there are some kids who are being born here and maybe their parents are coming from Africa, and they are here with their parents, and the parents will want to inculcate the values and norms of Africa to them, and the Dutch people are also trying to inculcate the values and norms of here. So these kids don't know whether they are Africans, they don't know whether they are Dutch. That's what we call identity crisis, isn't it?
Yeah, but there's several things, I think, you know. It doesn't always have to mean be like like a certain kind of culture that you have to take, because of the fact that also youth who are born and raised in Holland, you know,
Yeah.
they can also have an identity crisis because of the fact that in the street there's another culture, and that's not the culture that they're used to at home.
Yeah.
You know, the street language is different
Exactly.
than the language they talk at home. You know, so that's also a way of difference between the things that are accepted at home,
At home,
and the
yes.
things that are accepted on the street.
Yes.
And you can be kind of confused as youngster, like where do I get my
Values.
identity? Where do I get accepted?
Yes.
You know that at home you
It's
won't.
not accepted.
At home you won't. You know. Sometimes young people, I work with young people,
Yeah.
and at a certain age they're kind of in a rebellious state, you know.
Yeah.
A lot of them, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
And they want to be like more towards the youngsters, you know, more towards the people that they're linked to on the streets and outside of the home area.
Wow.
And that's where there comes a change. There comes a change in their behavior. You know, they're being different because they want to experience who they are.
Yes.
You know, and I think experiences who you are is not really bad.
No.
But it can be bad if you experience who you are outside of the things God says that are good.
Yes.
You know, you can experience a lot of things, but God wants you to experience His joy, His love, His peace, His presence. And if you go outside of the presence, then it leaves, you know, a lot of bad things. It can scar your soul, your emotions. It can scar yourself.
Yes.
And I think also a lot of people are raised up by one parent, you know.
Yeah.
And I think that I can give myself, for example, I'm raised by my mother alone, and she did a really good work. I have to say that for myself, you know.
that's
I'm really fond of my mother. She's
Yeah.
a good woman, and she raised both of us, me and my little brother, in good care. But the fact is, a father figure is
Yeah.
really important also in a household, you know.
Yeah, yes.
Because of the fact that the father figure, it's not like God also said there's man and there's woman.
Yes.
And both of them have a certain role in a household.
Exactly.
Otherwise, he would only put a woman in a household.
Yes,
You know,
yes.
men and women both have a part. But of the fact, if only women raise a child, like the infant, the children, they miss something.
Yes.
You know, they miss a father figure.
Yeah.
And of the fact that a father figure is really important,
Very,
also
very.
nowadays.
Very, very.
Very important.
Yes.
And if they don't have a father figure, it brings
them into crisis.
It brings them also a little bit into a crisis. It scars them. It brings something in them, you know. It does something with them.
But anyway, I want you to know that there's a grace, there's a Father who art in heaven and who loves us, so that if maybe your father is not around, you should
Yes.
never feel alone, and don't be discouraged.
Yes.
God loves you.
Yes.
God really loves you. Want to be your father. Want to teach you the right path through life, and we are here to tell you that He loves you.
Amen.
And He wants to take care of you. He wants to be there for you. He's more than a friend, more than a father, more than anything that you deserve in this life. And if you have God, you can do all things. Through Him, He will strengthen you.
Yes, that is correct. Very, very, very correct.
Yes, another point that I also have, if I may add,
Yeah, please.
is about youth. Today, they have this opinions that they cannot express.
They have what?
They have differences of opinions.
Okay,
Opinions,
yes,
sorry.
okay.
Yeah, that they have difficulties to express them in these days, and especially in their houses.
Why is that?
Because they learn from school in history classes, like there have been a lot of things done in the old days, in the days of Hitler,
Yeah.
and how Africa was treated and all these things. And we learned these things when we were like youth,
Yeah.
maybe like beneath the 16 years. So when we go to school, especially, so we start to having this kind of thoughts of the teachers that have learned this to us.
Yeah.
And if you compare it in these days, in the youths, they are still the same thinking like in the age of like 1940s, in the days that Hitler was ruling this country.
Oh.
So we learn now here a lot of things just by only about opinions. But if we learn to give our own opinions today, we learn also to express ourselves more.
Okay. So, if I may understand you clearly, you are working on other people's opinion, the
No,
youths of these days.
no, I'm actually working of what we have learned in school.
Yeah.
As
But
youths.
you want to have your own opinion. You want to
Yes.
have a say.
Yes, exactly.
Wow. Well, somebody out there and you are listening to this interesting broadcast, please, and you want to make a remark or you want to add to what our panelists are saying, give us a call on 020-737-1619. We are discussing the problems facing the youths of these days in a modern day society. Well, gentlemen, how have the youths been dealing with peer pressure or like to try drugs, sex, and other criminal activities?
What? Sorry, can you repeat that
The
question?
question is, how have the youths been dealing with peer pressure? Peer pressure such as trying of drugs, sex, and other criminal activities.
Peer pressure, group pressure. How are they dealing with that?
Yeah, not very well. As I know.
How they dealing with it? How they dealing with it? So, like when we all were youths, I mean, there were some ladies who were always wanting to smoke. I remember when I myself I wanted even to go and try to smoke, and by wrapping the paper because my friends were in school they want to try to smoke.
Yeah,
So how do the youths of this time deal with those things?
Yeah,
Yeah.
one.
Because we think there's lots of vandalism around them and among them.
Yes, one of the things that has to do with exactly with the parents, as we have been talking, that are a big influence on it, because the way that they have taught you things and they raised you, that's also how you will deal with it in a later life. But one of the most important things is how you are educated in these days. Because if you are educated, you don't have to worry of certain things that you will do in the future.
Yeah.
Like you were questioning that how do we deal with it.
Mhm.
So, for example, me myself, I have been raised in a certain way that I have had good education,
Yes.
and I did my school everything properly and very well. So I believe that this is one fact that we don't have to face anymore in life in the future. So when we are youth, especially, we don't have to be afraid of it. And one of the contexts, like if I refer to the Bible, is that as you raise a child young and you punish him good, So this is one of the things that I can just take off the Bible.
But is
for
it
example.
not the youths
Yeah,
that are busy with drugs and because that's where they start their drug or intaking and all of those things. They started from school.
It's also influences.
But I think also depends on the way. Also, he said it correctly. It's the way you're raised up. It's difficult for me to answer that question because of the fact that I got raised, not in a Christian home. I have to be, and I got a meeting with the Lord when I was about like 24, 25 years old, and I think that my way of thinking changed after that meeting with the Lord.
Yes.
I changed, I had a different mindset before I met the Lord and right now, but I think it also depends on the way you're raised. If you're not raised in a on a biblical foundation, then maybe some things are really accepted in that home area, So that, and then it's not a problem for the household, It's not a problem to have to go with boys with girls and girls with boys on a certain age, and to bring them home and to sleep over and that kind of stuff, and to experiment a little bit with soft drugs, because of the fact that if parents accept that behavior, then it's not a problem in that household. We see it as a problem, but they don't see it like a problem because of the fact that it's accepted. So it's also the things that parents accept in the household and the things they they don't see as a problem.
Wow. Really?
So except of the like we both of us were saying, the influences, we actually want to try to answer your question, not just what makes us do certain things in life, in drugs, or how we deal with it, what the cause of it is, but what actually follows after it.
Yeah.
So the damage of the youth today is exactly all these things that you have mentioned, like sex and drugs and all these things.
Yeah.
And we don't know how to go along with it. So we have no senses that can see or smell any of these things. So we go quickly. So we find ourselves in this drug issues problems quickly,
Yeah.
because of things that we actually don't know in life. Everything that you don't know about, you end up in it very fastly, and everything that you know a lot of.
But when they see the outcome, when you see those junkies out and you see the mess that so many people are having, I mean, even if you have not been through, you
Yes.
don't still, by seeing, you don't need to go and put yourself in the same problems that have led those people to those things.
It depends on how you see it, because as a youth, you see like a junkie doing a crazy thing,
Yeah.
and sometimes you get also mad and you feel like, hey, let me throw everything off, like fun. I remember when I was young at school, like those guys who used to smoke and drink,
Yeah.
they're like guys like who don't care, like who, if you step on my toes, I'll step on my toes, and it seems funny. It seems like how do you say that? It seems he step on my toes and I step on his toes. This guy is hard. You know, and we youth, we like hard boys, or we like things that are hard. When some guy look hard in our face,
Yeah.
it seems like, hey, this I want to be like a hard guy, and of a crazy guy, you know.
Yeah.
This make us so that make people look at us, make us see that hey, we are strong. And that's how we all fall in this situation. Like I see one of my friends with 2 girls.
Hello, caller.
We see one of my friends with 2 girls.
Excuse me, yeah. Hello, caller.
Good morning.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Youth, they're doing their best, but I want to suggest something.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, anything on earth has got a manual. In other words, human beings were created by God, and God gave us a manual which is Bible to operate. So, the children, they also need their parents as a manual to operate. But if they want to operate without the manual, it's the parents. And there is the problem. So I think they need their parents.
Their parents.
Yeah, parents to operate. Because the parents, the manual. As a human being, our manual is the Bible. Is the same as the youth. Their manual is the parents.
Okay.
Because, I'm saying this because the world is going very fast and it's becoming high-tech. But I never see any youth, they were giving a Nobel Prize before. So it means the older people always have the Nobel Prize.
Okay.
They're ahead of them, but they don't want to accept that. That's why they face those crises. God bless you, bye-bye.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. So what he is saying, is that the youths they need parental upbringing.
Yeah.
So just like you've mentioned before, so without the parental role in their lives, a role model, they are just trying out everything. So every youth must submit himself or herself to a parental upbringing.
Yeah,
So
totally agree.
those who do not have, so what do we say to them then?
Yeah. That's why God, we still evangelize about God's grace, that God is in control. They should not worry, and they should look up. Like we say, God is in control, and He'll take care of them. He'll take care. You know, it's hard. Like me too. I was raised up without a daddy, but thank God for His grace. I was also lost in His Word, but I thank God for God's grace, who find me without nobody and took me as His own, and make me His own child. And that's I know that God is reigning. He's in control. He's reigning.
Yeah.
And He still loves His children. He never forget us, because For God so loved the world that He gave His only begotten Son, that whoever believes in Him should not perish but have everlasting life. And I pray that we are on the street even nowadays, still helping the youth and evangelizing and bringing the gospel around the world so that they will find a helper who never forsake and never leave them as a human being do.
Yes, and I want to encourage the youth as well.
Yeah.
For accept that we have to face certain problems, but I do believe also that if we have any doubts or any questions, that we can always have something better than those things. That we don't have to stay with the oldest questions in our minds, but always to be free and open, and to if we can follow the instructions of our parents, then it can go well with us.
Yeah. Well, before we begin to try to sign off, I would like to ask this question. Are there things you believe that older generation ought to teach you and they have not been able? Or is there any resentment you believe the youth have against their parents or the older generation? Are there things that we're supposed to teach to the youths and then we've not been able to do them, and then that have brought a sort of resentment in their hearts?
I think it's a difficult question because of the fact that now I'm just one person, and I'm also speaking from the heart, of course. I think that most parents, the best thing you can do, I think, but I'm not a parent, so, but I think the best thing is like listening. Just listening to the child, you know, and not only listening with your ears, but also with of course, also seeing like the facial things, you know, like people express also themselves in the way they act, by their
body
eyes,
language,
by their body language, you know.
Yeah. Okay.
Listening, and really giving the child like the recognition, like I love you and I want to be with you. And it doesn't matter what you do, I still love you. And I just want to really have the best interest with you, you know? I love you for who you are. And I think that if you do that, and if you're really by the side of your child and really like cooperate with your child, you know, like really...
Is it you that is supposed to cooperate with your child, or is it your child that is supposed to cooperate with you?
No, it's like your child has to cooperate, of course, with you, but it's like you have to have that heart relationship with your child. You have to really have the best interest for your child, and not like your child at a certain age. Your child also wants to do certain things, but you have to be like, I know what you feel, but it's not good because of this, and this.
Okay.
And not like, no, you don't. You know, sometimes it can be like you just say no, you can't do that, and it's like end of discussion.
Okay.
Because childs sometimes they want to communicate with parents, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we will be taking at least a short break for now, and then we'll be soon enough. Before we sign off, I would like to know from you some of the challenges you've personally faced in your development as a young person. I mean, you can use your experience to encourage someone else. Are there some challenges you faced while you were growing as a child, as a youth?
Yeah. One challenge that I really personally faced in my life, that without growing with my daddy, was a little bit difficult for me, and make me find, because men always like to be with men to know what's all about men and what's do main things. So most of the time that was the hard thing for me. So I find it outside, and at least it was not outside, it was in God. And I find a real daddy in God, and that make me now where I am by His grace. And I'm telling the youth that only God is a real man who can make you a real man in life. Wow. Don't look around your friends, because they are also having difficulties, and only God who knows what is acceptable for a man.
Okay, tonight.
Yes, I had a difficulty in finances and of paying my bills. For example, this is today the day that we all of us youths we challenge which this maybe also it can get worse, that we think that we never can get out of it. And especially when we get older as well, we really get in that kind of traffic of this financial debts and credits and all these things, and especially in this credit crisis in this day. So I have found myself therein, but I do believe also that there is an outway if you just do your best in life, and you use your faith, you use everything that you have. Because like my own experience, I used to have also debts, but I struggled myself out of it, and now I'm able to pay a lot of debts and over thousands of euros just by the help of God, of course.
Wow.
That I must really toegeven, admit that it was like that, and appreciate it as well. And I also give thanks by also helping other people, because if you help others, some way or the other way, you get helped. Maybe in your job, somebody will see your effort and will look at you, and also is able to support you. So I want to transfer to all the youths that you can get out of this this credit crisis of yourself.
Wow.
Before you can get out of the credit crisis of the world that you have.
That's a good one. Well, let's listen to the news for now, before we round up.